the Indian Air Force marks 9 decades since it took to the skies, recent history tells a compelling story of operations in hostile and uncertain environments that have tested the force, its personnel and aircraft. From emergency airlifts to beefing up garrisons on the line of actual control with China, to evacuating Indian and foreign nationals from war-torn Ukraine, not to forget Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. All these operations demanded meticulous planning, flawless implementation, and single-minded focus from all personnel.
It was a quick launch mission. We had no intelligence, ground intelligence available for the mission. We didn't have any kind of ground support on the soil of Kabul. So it was like mission was twofold. First was to insert our specialized team. Second was to evacuate our Indian nationals and friendly foreign nationals.
What stood out in these operations was that none involved the use of combat air power. Rather, it was the transport fleet and its pilots and engineers that dominated the public consciousness. Note also the aircraft in lead roles, the Boeing C-17 Globemaster III, a 180-foot long and 174-foot wide 4-engined jet behemoth, and its smaller turboprop cousin, the C-130J transporter. Both types of aircraft were deployed in Afghanistan as the Taliban seized Kabul in August last year, and the Ghani government collapsed to an inglorious exit. Working at breakneck speed to ensure the safety of Indian citizens, the Indian government launched Operation Devi Shakti, landing C-17 and C-130 transport planes in Kabul, despite the risk posed by Taliban fighters on the ground and their comrades in arms, such as Al-Qaeda, Lashkar-e-Taiba, the Jaish-e-Mohammed and others.
When we plan these missions to war-torn areas, these missions are challenging, keeping in mind short launch timing and unfamiliar environment in the landing airfield. While speaking of Operation Devi Shakti, which was launched in August 2021, while uncertainty and chaos prevailed in Afghanistan and there was an imminent danger of taking over of the nation by the Taliban, Operation Devi Shakti was launched to rescue and recover the Indian nationals from the country. And this mission in itself was challenging because there was threat of real manpads, blackout of communication and small arms fired in the vicinity of the airfield, for which meticulous and intricate planning was done on ground. When the first aircraft got airborne from here for Afghanistan, there was prevailing danger in the airspace, which was an uncontrolled airspace and unknown potential danger of the country we were traveling. The first aircraft landed in the early hours and eventually the situation worsened. The second aircraft followed and landed, but the Indian nationals were not able to reach the aircraft, and the crew, analyzing the paucity of the time and reducing and deteriorating danger of the ground, they decided to get airborne and land in the third nation, not come back to India or stay in Afghanistan, but they diverted to Tajikistan, and after 4 nerve-wracking days, they finally found a small window of safety wherein the aircraft could enter and exit the Kabul airspace. And this was the first time that the Indian Air Force has done an NVG landing in a hostile environment, and that also in complete darkness.
The C-17 Globemaster III fleet also played a crucial role in transporting soldiers and military equipment to eastern Ladakh during the border row with China. With 11 such aircraft in its fleet, the Air Force had the flexibility to respond and expand as COVID took hold. Regular sorties were flown to international and domestic locations to help overcome a frightening shortage of oxygen.
When hardly any people knew about this virus, that is right in the month of February 2020, the Indian Air Force C-17 was launched to the epicenter, Wuhan, to evacuate the people and also to get some of the medical aid or material so as to be able to fight this disease if at all it spreads in the country. The squadron in particular, that is the C-17 squadron, was heavily tasked. And we lived up to the task. We flew 24/7. But it was all for the nation. And it was a feeling of pride to be able to support our nation in the time of need.
Most recently, the C-70s were involved in Operation Ganga to bring back Indian students stranded in Ukraine following the Russian invasion. It was not just an emergency evacuation. The diplomatic ground had to be prepared, with Indian diplomats shuttling between Kiev and Moscow to ensure the safe movement of Indian students from conflict areas.
We've gone right from India into the Eastern Europe, very close to Ukraine, for evacuation of Indian diaspora. The people are coming from that war-ravaged area, emotionally charged up, some of them actually injured. Most of them have lost everything, and more than that, they have lost the hope. The emotions are playing a big part. That time, denying any passengers not to carry a pet was becoming a very difficult thing. So it was a very fine balance of handling the emotions as well as handling the entire mission. Because finally, it is for the Indian people and we have to live up to the motto of Indian Air Force.
As the IAF celebrates its 90th anniversary, it has become the flag bearer of India's relief efforts across the world, carrying aid and assistance to disaster-hit countries and providing medical help, including vaccines, to many others. The going is tough, but as they say, that's when the tough get going.